Okay, so now we've come to my part of this whole thing. Um, and what I wanted to like express. I'm just gonna freestyle it. Hopefully it's short, maybe not, who cares? It's on my time now. I don't have anybody that's gonna snatch the rug out from under me. I ain't gonna have anybody that's gonna remove the mic from me. I am who I am. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of like the family that I come from. Even though we're part of me, I don't want to use the word with the F word, but every family is dysfunctional in some kind of way. Mine is, but see, the thing about me is, I basically look at myself as being an unfiltered cigarette. It just depends on how you use me. I'm real. Um, I express emotion. I wear my how do I say? Some people, the expression is they wear their heart on their sleeve. Fortunately, me, I wear my heart, I wear my mind, and I wear my mouth on my sleeve at all times, and I express all three. Might be a little too much for some people to handle, but I don't apologize for the things I say. Maybe if they come off, rude or disrespectful, or I'm just not thinking at that moment. I just play off the emotions and the vibe of everyone around me, and that is one thing that Bobo also um, uh, had also the same trait. So here we go with my speech. I guess there's no nothing. I'm just gonna let it fly from here. So I hope you guys enjoy. Hopefully I don't break down. Maybe I will. I'm all cried out. But here's the opportunity now for me to do it on my time and what I really wanted to say at that moment. So let me rewind. For those of you that weren't there, don't know about it. For those of you that were, I'm just going to repeat everything I started from and start from scratch. So here we go. First of all, for the entire week, I was sick, battling, different illnesses, which I'm still getting over right now. Wondering what I should do, what should I say about this situation. And, everything's hitting me at once. I get phone calls from everybody. I'm trying to figure out what went wrong, and all these emotions are just jingling and juggling all in my head, and it's too much pressure, me being sick, all these things, and me being hurt, all these emotions hit me at once. I actually became numb for a short time, and I basically wanted to express myself. So I was thinking, what can I do? I was looking at an empty memo pad of paper and a pen, and I was staring at it the whole week. Every time I tried to write something down, something kept causing me not to do it. Whether it be a phone call, whether it be someplace that my stepson needed to be, me coughing, trying to battle that illness, everything. Me trying to be there for my family when I couldn't. Everything kept, every day was a different day, and every day I kept staring at that memo pad. At the end of the day, it became blank with just a pen and that empty sheet of paper. So flash forward to the day of the wake. I'm so angry and everything at myself, like that I didn't do that. But I thought I got encouragement based on one thing. I like to go through Pandora, and on my playlist that I have, I have like a certain set of music that I like to listen to. So I put my earbuds on, try to get in the groove of the writing thing. I put the earbuds in my ear, and for some strange reason, I'm having internet connections, and this playlist doesn't want to do it. It just keeps buffering, going around and around, and I'm getting upset, keep clicking it, nothing's happening. All of a sudden, I turned my attention away, I clicked the button, and all of a sudden I turned my attention, I don't know what it was, just something in my back of my head just caught my attention for a second, and, and what happened was, the playlist automatically hit a certain song that I've heard a lot, and always was a cool song, always was a, good healing song to me, but it didn't touch me until that moment. And at the end of my speech, it's not so much a speech, at the end of what I need to say, I'm going to play that song for you guys, because that song is what gave me the healing and the help that I needed at that time, because I felt my cousin or somebody did that for the benefit of me, to show me comfort for that day and have enough strength to get up there and say what I wanted to say. So I'll play that for you at the end of this. So I just thought I'd throw that out there first, in case you're wondering. Now back to what I was saying. When I look at Bobo's life, if you ask me, how do you feel about Bobo's life? How do you think, Bobo? You can't ask Bobo, he's not here anymore. So I felt I had to speak for him on his behalf, and on the behalf of his father. And I have to speak for them because they're no longer here. I can only sympathize with them because we all share the same blood in our veins. We grew up together. We were in the mix together, and unfortunately we couldn't carry on. But when I look at Bobo's life, I look at Bobo's life as 3 chapters of life. Each chapter to me is 10 years for a person. Fortunately, he didn't get to live, 8 chapters, maybe 10. Some people are very fortunate to make it to 10 chapters in life. Fortunately, he only made it to 3. I can just give you some memories from the first chapter of his life because I saw it. I was there. The day that I was introduced to Bobo, the day that he came into my life and the world in general, I wasn't there at the hospital when he was born, but I remember watching a video as a kid of it, and I wish that we could have had it at that funeral that day, but it warms my heart to this day. How his dad had such joy on his face. Jason had the biggest smile, man. The biggest smile that turned that nose from one side to the other. And, he's just in that waiting room, and he had all his cousins with him, and they were all there proud, you know what I mean? Like, that showed how much love Jay had then from his fellow, he had one sibling, but he had many siblings. And so Bobo's birth was like a big extravaganza, It was like a joyful thing, and I fortunately wasn't there, but I remember the day they brought him home. I remember his little head looked like a football. Like when kids' heads are kind of stretched out a little bit or whatever. It looked like a football with a little thing, Of course, that kind of rounded out later. And what had happened at that time when I was looking at him, I was so happy, that we had this new person in our life. A new person, that little kid that I can play with. My sister Megan, was born a year prior. And it's different with a girl compared to a boy. So when I had Bobo come into the mix, I'm like, oh, here's a little dude I can kind of rough up a little bit. I can kind of I can't do that with my sister. So I had the opportunity thinking, I can have fun with this guy. I can have fun with him. He's a boy too. I can get rough. I have a very interesting story too. At that time, like I said, we grew up. He stayed there. He lived with us with Jeanette and Jason. They stayed with us for a short time. After that, they got their first apartment right there across from K&A. Don't remember the apartment number, but I know that it was the second apartment on the left-hand side. That's all I remember. That was the time that they all shared together. together, bundled up in that little one room. Fortunately, they weren't there very long. Came back, had many more fun times and memories, from there with our crazy family. Bobo fit right in. Bobo added all that craziness. He added all that hoopta that everybody had. Um, but as time went on, I hate to admit it, I kind of had a little hint of, what they call sibling rivalry. It's not jealousy. It's just that I was the star of the family at one point. I was the oldest grandson, from my grandma Net and Grandpa Rabbit, and so it was kind of like a sibling rivalry for attention, and for me, I had it for so many years, maybe 7 or 8 years when Bobo came into our life, that I kind of got not jealous, yeah, I guess jealous. Just call it what it is. Of the superstar next in line taking that limelight from me, and that's just an essence that God put around him, as a little boy, man, and he carried that, to the very end. And so the memories I have of that, of his birth and introduction to me, of course, like I said. Now, the other thing that I wanted to address is, if you ever notice on Bobo's face had like a small little scar right here, Fortunately, God gave me one here later on in life, in trade. But I just want to set the record straight on that. When there's so many stories how he got that, there are some people out there who I don't know how they really feel about it, that I, that it was intentional from me. The real story about that is my grandpa Manuel Cicados had a leather chair that was always right there by the entryway of his door. And one day, me and Megan were playing, in the living room on the floor. She's bouncing a ball around. I'm there coloring, writing my name, because at one time I thought I was going to be like the genius of the world. And I'm writing, a pencil in my hand. And Bobo's jumping up and down. He must have been about almost 2 years old. He's jumping up and down on my grandma and grandpa's leather chair. And I think Jeanette and Jason were outside with some friends, just having fun or whatever. And he's inside with us. And all of a sudden, Bobo gets motions like he wants to jump out of the chair and jump into my arms. And I says, "No, Bobo, you sit down. You better sit down." And he smiles that little little side smirk, And I didn't, Megan took my attention away for one brief moment. And I had the pencil sticking outward, kind of like out like this, with the tip. And all of a sudden, I turned my neck back to the chair, and he comes jumping right to my chest. And after that, he looked at me, and I seen blood, a look from his eye around here just trickle down. And I'm like, oh my, I flipped out. I was a little kid. Oh my God, they're gonna kill me. And he's screaming, and here comes my grandma, and here comes everybody. Here comes Jeanette, and she picks him up, and she's, Jason, and she's running outside, and it's a big fiasco. I go running, hiding behind my grandma's bed, and man, I'm scared. I'm a little kid. I'm 8 years old. Oh my God, they're gonna kill me. Jason was so irate. He went searching for me, yelling my name. All I can hear is, Richie, Richie, dang, they're new parents. I get it. I didn't mean it, It was nothing like that. It's just I loved him. I always had this intuition to nurture, to protect, And at that moment, I fell short. Nothing, no big Bobo, but you know what? Hey, later on, because we never really talked about it together, I don't know how he ever felt about it or nothing, but look, God gave me a trade-off on that one, so, we're even. But then the memories of also, too, when we took that trip out to Lake Havasu, my grandma and grandpa, Rabbit and Annette, we went, my grandpa won some money at a racetrack, and hell, man, we were balling at that time. We went up to Lake Havasu. We got the place maybe for a weekend. It might seem like a week to me. No one could go in the family except for, my grandparents, me, Jason, and Jeanette. We all rolled in my grandpa's Lincoln, balling like crazy. Went out there, had a blast, wonderful time. The memory I had with Bobo at that moment was, he's going around and, he was going around the lake area and the dock, and he's wearing this Popeye the Sailor Man sweet pea fucking outfit that he's got on. The pretty looking little GQ as a little kid. We have a picture that we have in our family of him, which I wish I could show you. Of him with his little striped t-shirt, and it's just crazy about all that. And what had happened at that time was, we're taking pictures, and he's just glancing over that little face, and I just wanted to share that part right there. That was a fun time. We all ended up with some weird skin condition after that, though I think it's probably from the hot tub. Because if you ever notice Bobo, all his early years as a kid, every picture he's in, he's got these real red little dots on his face, like this red sunburned looking look all the time, that he just had like a stamp of that forever, like a hint of rosacea. So, still a cute kid though. Still happy though, you know what I mean? He's a little itchy at times, but he got through it. As time went on, the more things that I saw at that particular time were, he had young parents. And, very similar to me in my life. I had young parents. My mother and my father, when my mother was 15, my father was 17. Weren't ready to be parents, whatever. I'm their miracle baby. When they tell me, and my story's for another time. But Bobo, we connected in that kind of way because later on I found out as an adult that that's the similarities that we shared with each other. That's the connection that we had, not only through blood, not only through family, you know what I mean, all that. It was a connection that we had just with each other in that kind of way, that we could sympathize with one another, how it is to feel when your parents break up, when your parents go away. But the joys about that, the good part about it, is that we have an extended family. We have double of everything, man. I was a spoiled kid, and now he became the spoiled boy too. There's a life that he has with the Perez's that we may never know, but he had his memories in his life with us, which I am so grateful for. Now, speaking for my other family, we have memories with my Gonzales side, which, Bobo got to share those with us. He got to see my grandma, Josefa Gonzales, my grandma Josie. He got to go out there and hang out with us boys, the Gonzales boys, the Morgan boys, us, little clique right there, Airport Boulevard, give a shout out. We had great times out there, man. I miss my grandma to this day. Unfortunately, I never got to meet my grandpa Toribio. Maybe I did. I just don't remember. I was too young. He held me in his arms, but I never got to know him. But from what I saw at the time, we were a big family, and we had great times, and Bobo got to share that with us. Easters, we were out there riding motorcycles and bikes. Bobo was there, hey, there's a video of us picking eggs in our baskets and stuff, during Easter right there by the chicken coop area, and talk about organic. Great memories. I mean, man, ranch, you can party all night, have fun, don't have to worry about nothing except having fun with your family, and that's what life is about. And Bobo got to cherish, and Bobo got to experience that with us, and I thank the Lord for that every day that he got to. At that particular time, Jason and Jeanette, kind of their relationship was kind of disbanding at that time. And like me, my parents were gone too. I was raised by my mother, and he kind of was torn. But Bobo was always up front and center all the time. That boy was always wanted to be noticed. I'm here. When you wanted to go for a cruise, especially when Jason had Jeanette's red Prelude, he was in the front seat. up there like that, holding to the seats. You got one seat here, the middle seat. Bobo just right there with his head sitting up on top. That was Bobo right there, you guys. Yeah, fool was ready to roll. You talk about road dog. Bobo was a road dog as a kid. Now, the other memories I have too, fortunately after all that had happened, flash forward to the late 90s, I'm going through adolescence, I'm getting older, I'm a teenager at this time, and there's an age gap between us. And it got to the point to where Bobo was becoming a little annoying with me. I was tired of, like, why does he have to come? Why did you get... It hurts me now to this day that I was like that with him, but at the time, like I said, it was because I was getting older, growing into a teenage boy, and he basically was still a little kid, but he was a kid that wanted to be with us, that wanted to be our age, and he hung out with us guys, me and my cousins would go out and hang out and want to do what older people do too. Bobo wanted to be a part of that, But we never deprived him of that because he was there. I got mad. I got upset, because I didn't want him there, which I feel so badly for. It hurts me, that I felt that way. But at the time, I can't help it. I was, like I said, I was a teenager, so it's that brotherly thing, when you got your little brother, like, don't follow me. That's kind of like how that was. But he did make, like, certain moments and many moments special about that, There's a lot of things that I don't want to really mention because we'll probably get in trouble, like the stuff we did at the ranch. But you just know that was the place to just do whatever we wanted. But we had fun. But he was a part of that too, so he was alongside me on that. And our family, we many memories of my Uncle David and the Gonzales family. Who shout out, Uncle Dave, love you, all my heart, bro. You're my second father. My many fathers, and Bobo's too. Bobo loved you. Bobo loved all the boys. So, great times, the Gonzales Ranch. So here we go again, like where I'm a teenager now. Bobo's growing up also a little more, a couple more years in. Unfortunately, his mother decided to kind of I don't know, eliminate herself, for reasons I never understood at that time, Now that I'm older, I do. I get it. She wanted to go a different path, and she ended up meeting somebody, and another man, and was in a relationship with him, and progressed. They had kids together and got married, and Bobo was there for all that. I can't speak on that end because I wasn't there, but it hurt his father dramatically that he wasn't around. And for my grandmother and everyone that knew Jay and all his friends, we all knew it. We all felt his pain on that one. But to me, speaking on my uncle's behalf, who's not here anymore, the only part I want to say on that one is I don't know whatever thing they had between Jeanette and Jeanette. If you're watching this, I'm saying all these things, or anybody from her family. I mean no disrespect on any of this stuff. I'm not putting anybody down. Nothing. That's over with. God has washed that away. So I'm just speaking for my uncle now, who's not here anymore. That's Jasano Gonzales, to be correct, to whoever watches this video. That was my uncle, and that's a story all itself. That's a novel all itself, who I will address later on. But right now, this is about his son. And how he felt about his son was, unfortunately, Jason had a lifestyle that, he chose his own way and his own path. Now his son, people can say he idolized, he loved his father. That I do know. That everybody knows. That doesn't need to be talked about. Bobo loved his dad, and his dad loved him. So there's no ands, ifs, or buts about that. But idolization of the kind of lifestyle that, Jason chose, Bobo idolized, I mean, from my point of view, it didn't matter. because Jeanette's her new husband at the time was pretty much similar, and it doesn't matter. If you want to blame somebody, to me, I think people need to take accountability for the actions that they do. That's called being a grown-up. That's called being a man, and that's called being a woman that could come out and admit when they're wrong. My Uncle Jay can't admit that he was wrong because he's not here to do that. But I know in my heart that if he reached the age that I am now, he would have done so. He would have made amends with all that. And it hurts me so much that he never got to. But that's because somebody else took that from him. And I can't speak no more for him on that one. All I know is that he loved his son with all his heart, and Bobo loved his father, and there was a short time that they were not connected together. But the good part is, though, couldn't keep them separated from each other because Bobo would communicate to his dad through the ice cream man. The ice cream man would go all throughout Northside. And Bobo would always have a letter. When Bobo was Bobo was down on Mountain View Street, not very far away from us, but he was still away from us. At that time, we didn't have internet. At that time, we really didn't. Well, we did, but not everybody really communicated like that. It was just basically email. So Bobo got a chance to communicate with his father, which my grandma still has a letter in Jason's box to this day. And they still had that connection. Bobo could be like in the middle of nowhere in the Serengeti, you know what I mean, with no cell service or whatever like that, you could say, but you can't stop the connection that you have from here. You know what I mean? That's inseparable. I don't give a damn how far you can take somebody. The love still fucking meets up together. So Bobo communicated with his dad, not as much as he wanted to, but they had a small moment. But Jason was devastated because he didn't have his son in his life. So whatever it may be, Bobo chose his own path, and idolized whatever. I'm not going to blame either or. It's just something that he was into, something he liked, and we just have to respect that that's who he was. And I've accepted it, that's just what he liked. And you know what? Whatever. People can say whatever they want to say about me, but I am who I am. And you know what? Long time I try to mold myself with everyone else. Just be yourself. It's the only thing I can say. And Bobo basically always was himself. So after all that, remarried and he's away, a tragic thing happens in our family. My uncle Jason, Jasano, was murdered. And that was the most devastating thing that happened in our family. It tore everything up, all our family apart. And I know, I could just imagine how Bobo felt. I could just imagine. He was probably, 13, 14, something like that. Barely coming into being a teenager. That, when you need that kind of guidance from a father, not so much you have it from your mother and everybody else, but this the type of truth is a good thing about it is that Bobo had everybody as a father figure and guidance. We all took that boy in. We all were that kid's father. We all, at times when he needed it, we all were there, the mother, the cousin, the primo, the everything. Everybody from all sides of the family. I don't just talking about one. I'm talking about every familia, extended, whatever. I can name them all, which I don't choose to. But we all had our moments with this kid. We all took him in. We all felt an obligation to watch over him. And I felt that we did, But like I say, people choose their own paths in life. And like how I can say about Bobo is that he was a bird that just couldn't be caged. You know what I mean? He had too much spread of wings, you know what I mean? And he had to fly whenever he needed to. And you know what? He was a kid that took care of himself. And he did. He did it very well. He impressed me. But unfortunately, at that particular time after his father's death, it was devastating. We had to go through everything, and oh my God, it was the worst time of our lives. I mean, we thought at the time it was going to be the worst time of our life. Bobo went a different route in life. Bobo was lost. Bobo became something different, and he didn't have the guidance. He had the support system that if he needed it from us, he came back into our life at that time, who I thank the Lord every day. We all are blessed that he got to come back in our life at that time. And this is the introduction to the second chapter of his life. The first chapter of his life is over. Now we're coming into the second chapter of his life. And after losing a father like that, and being torn with the family and all this animosity and unfinished business, I want to say, whatever it may be, is hard for a kid to take in. It's hard for a kid like that, I sympathize with that. I mean, for me, my dad's still alive, still in my life. Thank the Lord for that. I love you, Dad, if you're watching this video. And the thing is he had the emotional support, but the problem was he was a young kid lost. He needed direction when he needed direction, but you know what? He was hurting. And in so many ways, and what do children do that are young teenagers? They act out. And fortunately, right when I was cut off, by one of the Perez's, on blast, I mentioned the name of my uncle, and I started to get into detail of how Bobo got in trouble, and they cut me off. So from here on out is the part you guys never really got to hear. The second part, the chapter of his life I wanted to bring up was he's just a kid. And I understand it. I'm pretty sure everybody needs to understand, and they do. That he was just a child at that time and coming into his own, and this happens to him, and it devastates his world, because he feels, probably, I can't speak for him, but maybe I will right now. I can sympathize. Maybe Bobo did. He did. I know he did. That he felt so hurt that he couldn't make the amends of that. Like he knows his dad was hurt, whatever, missed him, and it hurt Bobo more too. But he came, in back the day that Jason was killed, and Bobo got to come and hang out with us. But I could see the hurt in his face, and it melted my heart beyond belief. At that time, I felt so bad that I treated him the way I did when he was a kid. But you know what? I never doubt Bobo's love. I never would doubt it, because despite how much I pushed that kid away from me, how much I was with him, Bobo loved me. Bobo never ever mistreated me, told me the F word, never hit me, nothing. Bobo knew the word respect. I have a little trouble with it. That's because, like I said, I'm unfiltered. But Bobo never ever questioned that boy's heart. Because Bobo loved. Bobo respected. And Bobo was very loyal to those that were loyal to him. Or even if they weren't, he would just be like, I ain't got time for you. He was always above and beyond all that stuff. And that's what I loved about him. Makes me want to cry right now. Because I wish I could be like that. I react with anger sometimes. Bobo, hell no. Bobo reacted with, you're beneath me, Holmes. Like, if you don't like it, well then, I'm on my way. I got bigger and better things. That's the real on that one. And that's who he was. That told a lot about a kid. He was still a teenager at the time. So one up for you, primo, over me. I didn't get it till now, but you had it then, homie. You just probably didn't realize it. So anyway, then here comes, flash forward a couple years from there, when we think that he's back in our lives and we have a chance to, get into his head a little bit and guide him, another tragic thing happens. He goes and makes a dumb, stupid mistake that a lost kid with no direction would make. He thanked the Lord that he didn't kill anybody. But it devastated our family again. He was taken away from us again. And I can't speak for him on that one. It blows my mind how the heck he even survived all that. But years and years of him being in county jail and everything, I can't imagine it. It's surreal to me. I wouldn't have never been able to do it. I probably would have done a fucking Aaron Hernandez. You know what I mean? I ain't got that shit in me. But my primo though, homie had heart. For real. I don't give a shit how big your muscles are. His fucking heart muscle was bigger than anybody's fucking biceps. That's for damn sure. And that's coming from me. Who, pretty tough myself, you know what I mean? So, I can't talk about his prison life. I wasn't there. We're nearing the end of his second chapter of life. Unfortunately, he spent a decade or more incarcerated and had to grow up from a young 17-year-old boy, till now. And it's just mind-boggling how the hell he did it. But you know what? Fucking, I give you props on that one, bro. I would have never been able to do it. But I did have one special moment to see him in there. Not like I'm making light of it or anything, you guys. But from what I saw, and I'll tell you right now what happened with me. I unfortunately was going down a dark path also. Because I didn't realize till later how much my Uncle Jason's death affected me. So I was going down a dark road, got in trouble, I got locked up in county jail. Maybe it may be for 5 days, but you know what? 5 days to me, man, was like 5 fucking years. And, it's in the middle of the night, I'm scared, I don't know what to believe, I mean, what to expect, but it's pitch black. These guys are making me wait in a holding tank with a bunch of stinky ass motherfuckers. And I'm a kind of guy that I don't like anyone, including my daddy or anybody, telling me what the fuck to do. Richard Saldivar does what the fuck he wants to do, when he wants to do it. And I just didn't like that people were telling me I had to do push-ups and all this shit to... Really? They're all prepping me for it in the holding tank. And all of a sudden, they put me in, they book me, and they put me all in that room. And it's pitch black in there, man. And there's bunks everywhere, and man, it looks like summer camp from hell. So all I had was a boat to sleep on, cold ass floor, no blanket, nothing. And all of a sudden, out of the darkness, I hear this voice, very familiar. Hey Rich, is that you, man? And I look up, and I swear to God, it's Bobo, the only fucking guy that was awake at the time. And he comes up to me. Hey, he's getting louder. Hey, primo, oh my God, I can't believe it. And everybody in the holding tank, not the holding tank, the actual tank is screaming at Bobo, shut the fuck up. Be quiet, homie. And Bobo goes, fuck you, Levas. This is my primo right here. And he went, and the guy that was talking shit, Bobo gets up, tells that guy, get the fuck off the bunk, because my cousin's going to sleep there. The homeboy got up. And it was like the fucking Roadrunner, boom, homie booked it. He got the freaking boat. I got the bunk. So that shows a lot about Bobo's character on that one. That homie was all about family. He was all about, like I said, you know what I mean? He didn't let nobody try to bring him down and stuff. I saw a glimpse of like this young kid, 17, 18 years old at the time. Maybe a few years after, he was probably 19, not even 20 yet. I'm his older cousin. I'm supposed to be, whatever. Hey, man, I appreciated that so much because I was a scared little bitch in that day, and he stepped up for me. And at that moment right there, I had so much love in my heart for this kid. Because, like I said, despite all the way I treated him and everything like that, which hurts me to this day, I feel so bad about it that I never got to make amends with him about it. You know what I mean? I never got to actually talk about it. But I know that he's in heaven right now, and he's hearing me, and he's loving this shit. He's loving. He's fucking right there doing the wave. Homie's doing this hustle. Him and his dad. I can picture them, hand over shoulder together. All my primos, Eric, everybody that's dead. All our loves and our loved ones and our grandparents and everything. Man, they're all like right now. They're loving it. They're saying, "Rich, do what you were born to do. Do what God instilled in you. Do what we all want you to do." And that's tell the truth. So I'm glad that I had that little brief moment. I'm not glad that I got arrested. I'm not glad none of that. Well, in some kind of way, I'm glad because I'm in a better place in my life. And I'm talking to you guys right now about this. And I'm here, I'm breathing, and I'm alive. Unfortunately, I'm going to move on to chapter 3 now. And chapter 3 is basically, he never got that chance. Unfortunately, Bobo, when he got out, I didn't know how Bobo felt about anything. So when he got out, my family had a welcome home party back in Northside with his grandma and grandpa, and everyone was there. And I got an invite to go. And at the time, something was going on in my personal life, and unfortunately, I didn't get to do it. So I felt like I didn't want to go. We had a short little falling out. Also, I should say, later on while he was in prison, after all those years, I never really communicated with him. We've had a fallout, which I'm not proud of. I don't want to talk about it. Just something happened between both of us, which, like I said, the kind of character that Bobo was it was a little thing like that to him, but to me, I took it as if he had a lot of hatred for me. But I assumed anyway. And I'll tell you, after all that had happened, it's just crazy because he had come back into the mix, and I just didn't want to go, which I regret to this day. But he had fun, they were sending me Snapchats of everything he was doing, drinking, taking shots, having fun, mingling with everybody, getting to know everybody, reconnecting with everybody. And so I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad that in the third chapter of his life, he comes out of prison, and unfortunately, he was, to me, what I saw, he was still that 17-year-old boy. I mean, think about it. When you're in there that many years like that, yes, you grow in body, but in his mindset, he still was a little young teenage boy, still lost. He needed that guidance, and I, at the time, even though I was feeling the way I was feeling, I felt an obligation, just like everybody in our family did, to watch over this kid. God, we get a second chance in life. He gets a second chance in life to do better. We want to take him on the road with us. You know what I mean? God, we got him back in our life. So happy, so proud. My mother loved it. My grandparents, oh my God, we're going through so many tribulations right now with my grandparents. But what a blessing that they got to see that they got to share that moments with him, because he made it his number one priority. Not only to be with his mother and his grandmother and everyone, but to make an effort to come back to the North India where, he really, he didn't care. Bobo did what he wanted. He came and he visited my grandparents, and he was old Bobo all over again. Never changed, just body. It's a little bigger, a little bit more, swole from all them damn burpees you've been doing. But still the same person in his mind. But the saddest thing is that I felt an obligation on the behalf of his dad to watch over him. So I decided to be on Snapchat with him and just to see what he was doing. It's that older brother mentality, because now it's not just siblings, a rivalry anymore. I accepted that, he vouched for me in jail like that. That showed a lot to me that he cared. But we had our little falling out, which I was still holding on to because I didn't know how he felt. But you know what he did? When he saw me, I happened to go on Thanksgiving Day, and he showed up late. My grandparents weren't feeling very good. They were asleep, actually. So it's just a immediate family thing, fast, spur of the moment deal. And I'm there in the room, and all of a sudden, Bobo comes around the corner, and he goes, I can hear his voice, but he didn't see me yet. He goes, hey, Aunt Renee, where's Grandma and Grandpa? He goes, I just got back from, I'm cruising around like L.A., and we went everywhere. He comes in the house, and he goes directly to my grandma's room, and my mom goes, well, Grandma and Grandpa are asleep. You need to be careful, because they're not feeling well. Bobo goes, I don't give a shit. I'll go sit in the middle of them. And you know what? He did. I heard him jump in the bed with them. Their grandmas woke up and they give him kisses. He's like, I love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye. He's just happy, I get it. Guy's been in there. He's happy just to be the fuck out and see everybody, But it's like an intuition, though, He felt the need to be everywhere. So when he did see me, when he came down the hallway, we locked eyes with each other. And his whole demeanor, like me, I felt scared, like a little boy, walking into a horror house or something. Not a horror house, a horror house. A spooky house. He locked eyes with me. We looked at each other, and he walked up to me and he goes, what's up, Rich? And he raises his arms out like this, and he reaches for me, and he grabs me, and he gives me the biggest, freaking, tightest hug I've ever had in my life. Almost squeezed the breath out of me. He says, what's up, primo man? Happy holidays. It's good to see you, and I'm glad to be out. I'm glad to be home. And I says, I was gonna start talking about our little problem we had. And he looked at me in my eyes, and he said, hey, primo, don't worry about none of that shit. I got nothing but love for you. You're my primo for life. I said, don't even worry about it. It's the holidays. I'm just glad to be home. That touched my heart. Because from there I thought I'd get a second chance to make a life with this kid. Because I didn't really get it, the last 12 plus years, It's our chance now to see if we can reach this guy and he can be something in his life and see if he can be better and just go along with the ride with us. For the remainder of our lives. He had so much more life to live. So when we find out that this tragedy has happened, we get that call after all the holiday times. I'm just so glad that we were able to have Christmas and everything like that with him. I'm grateful. I thank the Lord above that we did. His family too probably feels the same way, that they got to do things with him also. I love it. It made me cry to see him dancing with his grandma, Jeanette's mother. It warmed my heart at the funeral. I was like, oh my God, that's a part of life that we don't know. But I'm pretty sure they have their own memories and everything, which I know. I respected the part that they were hurting too. I just didn't like that they just didn't include us for we can be one at one time for one moment. So I feel they failed on that one, and that's not my fault. That's theirs. That's something they gotta deal with. But we'll move on. So for us, it was everything. I'm speaking on my family's behalf. I really thought I would break down more than this. I almost did a whole hour video here, you guys. But 1 hour ain't shit for someone's life that's cut short. And thinking about, there's a word that's going to be connected with Bobo forever when you mention him, and it's going to be the word never. Because he never is going to grow old. He's never going to experience true love of a woman. He had girlfriends. That's no doubt on that one. But he never really got to experience like real love with a woman, And I'm pretty sure his mother and all of us, we would love to see him have children, but he'll never have kids. He'll never come into our house again, with that essence and that enlightenment ever again. He'll never be able to enjoy a party with us. You know what I mean? He'll never see my sister's kids grow up. he'll never get to like know his brother, Sonny, who I'm gonna give a shout out to. I don't know, but I have to because you were his blood too. You know, or just his siblings and anyone that was in his life. I mean, he'll never be able to share that with them again. We'll never see what might have been. So you know what, primo? This is almost an hour of time. I took time to do this in your memory because somebody took that from me. And it's unfortunate that they didn't allow me to do it. It wouldn't have been this long, but all this would have been shorter. I just wanted to clarify everything. I want to speak for my uncle who's no longer alive, which I feel I did. I want to speak for all the family that felt uncomfortable that night, which is the Gonzaleses and the Saqueroses. I got to say what I wanted to say, and I feel good about it. I have closure. I'm not breaking down anymore. I'm talking. I'm in my element. You know, I have my moment to shine now for you guys, for Bobo, for my uncle, for the family that loved him. You know, my grandparents, my grandma Carmen loved him. You know, a lot of might have beens, but the one never that's the most important never of them all is that you would never ever be forgotten. I love you, primo. You rest in peace, my brother. And I'm gonna play I actually have a reason to play that song. I think I said it in one of my introductions, but I'll remind you again. When I was listening to Pandora, there was a song that came on, and it touched me. And I believe that, you know, I'm not gonna mention what happened to him because don't want to. We'll deal with that in time. And I feel that, you know what, the Lord above plus everything, it'll all come out and we'll get justice. Not vengeance is what I want for the family. I want justice, just like anybody else's kids that this tragedy has happened to. His life was cut too short, too soon, and that person's gonna have to live with whatever they did to him. So, whatever. He was loved by everybody. So the song that I'm gonna play to end all this, I wanted to play at the funeral, but didn't happen. I feel that it sums up his last moments, and it hurts me because it's like he's talking to me, and I'm visualizing in my brain the moonlight, cold, alone, which he wasn't. I'm glad that there's people with him. God-fearing people. But that song, though, came on for a reason, and you guys will know why. So, I'm Richard Saldivar. I'm Bobo's cousin and primo for life, but he's also my brother to the day I die. And thank you, primo, for everything, for the memories, and just being a part of my life. I love you, and thank you.